There are moments in life when every appearance shouts no, when reason rises like a wall and tells you this is impossible, when every fact, every voice, every circumstance says give up. And yet, within that moment lies the seed of your greatest miracle, the moment you choose to believe when reason denies it. You see, life is not governed by what is logical, it is governed by what is imagined. Everything that ever became real first existed in someone's unseen world, a vision no one else could see. When you dare to believe beyond what reason approves, you step into the same creative power that shapes universes. But here's the secret: you must feel it real. You must live from the end before it appears. You must look at the empty space and see it full. Look at the silence and hear the applause. Look at the void and call it done. This is not about ignoring facts. It's about transcending them. Facts change. Faith creates. And tonight, I want to show you how to hold to your belief until the outer world bends how to believe it when reason denies it. Because the moment you do, the impossible begins to move toward you. My friend, let us begin with the foundation, the secret that governs all creation: assumption. The world you see around you, every joy, every struggle, every event that enters your life, comes not by accident but by assumption. You assume, and your assumption becomes the seed from which reality blossoms. You may think life is moved by action, by effort, by chance, but no, it is moved by belief, quiet and invisible, yet infinitely powerful. When I speak of assumption, I am not talking about a casual wish or fleeting desire. I am speaking of a conscious acceptance that what you want is already yours right now, in this very moment. The great secret is not to strive toward your desire, but to feel from it. The difference is everything. To strive from lack is to confirm lack. To assume possession is to awaken creation. You cannot possess what you still claim is missing. The very act of claiming it absent binds it to distance. But the moment you dare to assume it's already done, that instant your inner world shifts, and creation begins its mysterious work. The world outside is only the mirror of what you assume to be true within yourself. When you look into a mirror and frown, do you strike the glass to change the reflection? No. You change your expression, and the reflection follows. So too with life. You cannot fight with circumstances. You must alter the image within. Perhaps you say, but how can I assume something that contradicts the evidence of my senses? That is the whole secret of power. Anyone can believe what they see, but creation belongs to those who believe before they see. Every invention, every miracle, every transformation began as an inner conviction that ignored outer reason. Close your eyes for a moment and feel the reality of what you desire. Don't wait for it to come live as though it already has. Speak from it, think from it, rest from it. Feel its presence so vividly that the line between imagination and reality dissolves. When you do, you will notice a strange calmness take over you. It is not the calm of pretending. It is the certainty of knowing. You might wake tomorrow and see no outer change. Do not doubt. The unseen work is already in motion. The assumption is the cause. The physical world is merely the delayed effect. Just as a seed planted in the earth does not sprout the same day, so too your assumption takes root in the unseen soil of consciousness. Nurture it with faith, water it with feeling, and give it the silence of confidence. Everything you have ever truly believed, not hoped for, not wished, but believed, has come to pass. Trace back any moment of your life, and you'll find that behind it stood an inner state you once occupied. The secret law is always at work. What you assume, you create. So begin now, not tomorrow. Assume the feeling of already being the one you wish to be. Let that assumption rise within you like a quiet knowing, unshaken by appearances. Because your assumption, held faithfully, will harden into fact, and the world will reflect it with perfect precision. And yet, the moment you dare to hold that assumption, A voice will rise within you, calm, logical, and seemingly wise, and it will whisper, "Be reasonable." It will point to the facts, to your past failures, to the visible evidence of what is not yet. It will remind you of everything that has gone wrong, every limitation, every boundary. That voice, my friend, is reason, the guardian of the seen world. It means well, but it cannot see beyond what already is. It speaks from memory, from experience, from the narrow window of what has been proven. But creation is not born in that window. It is born beyond it. Reason says, be practical. Look at your situation. You don't have the means. You don't have the time. You don't have the proof. And if you listen to it, if you let that voice dictate your faith, then you will remain exactly where you are, safe, logical, and powerless. For reason builds fences, but faith breaks them. You see, reason belongs to the outer man, the one who depends on his senses. It is the servant of the material world. It knows how to calculate, to compare, to measure, but it cannot create. Creation is the work of imagination, and imagination knows no measure. The two do not speak the same language. Reason demands evidence before it believes. Imagination creates the evidence by believing first. So, when reason rises and tells you that what you desire is impossible, smile and know that you stand at the border of transformation. For reason only protests when faith begins to move. Its resistance is the sure sign that the unseen is already stirring. Do not fight reason, simply rise above it. You cannot silence it by force, but you can outgrow it by conviction. When the mind says, "How can this be?" answer not with argument but with feeling. Feel it real. Feel the end so vividly that the question dissolves. Because what you feel becomes your truth, and truth does not argue, it simply is. The most powerful statement in the universe is not "I hope," not "I wish," but "I am." Do you see what happens when you say, "I am healthy"? Even when you are not, reason laughs. It says, "Look at the doctor's report." But you are not speaking to reason. You are speaking to creation itself. You are impressing upon the infinite the reality you choose to experience. Hold to it. Refuse to surrender to appearances, for appearances are nothing but crystallized imagination. Everything that reason calls fact is but the shadow of yesterday's belief. The house you live in, the work you do, the relationships you have, all of it once existed as unseen conviction. Reason now points to them as proof, but faith birthed them long before reason acknowledged them. When reason denies your dream, it is not your enemy. It is your invitation to rise higher, to see with the inner eye that which the outer cannot yet behold. That moment of denial, that clash between what is and what can be, that is the doorway. Walk through it, and as you walk through it, you must learn to live entirely from the end, to dwell in the state of the wish, fulfilled as though it were the only reality that ever existed. This is the true act of faith, not to ask when it will come, not to wonder how it will happen, but to live inwardly as though it already has. When you live from the end, you are no longer a seeker, you are a possessor. You cease to reach and begin to rest. You stop waiting for evidence and begin to generate it. The outer world will not change first, it never does. The seed must grow in the unseen before it breaks the surface. So do not look to the world to confirm your faith. Look within, dwell there. Touch the reality of your desire with the feeling of it accomplished. Speak from that place, think from that place, sleep in that place. Let the unseen become more familiar to you than the seen. You may say, "How can I live from the end when nothing around me supports it?" But I tell you, the end you imagine already exists in another dimension of consciousness. You are not creating it, you are merely selecting it. Life is not a process of making, it is a process of becoming aware. Everything you could ever desire already is waiting for your recognition. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you shift dimensions, you move from the world of longing to the world of having. It may feel strange at first. Your senses will resist. They will tell you you are only pretending. But imagination is not pretending. It is the doorway to reality. Pretending separates you from what you desire. Imagining unites you with it. The difference lies in conviction. Pretending says, maybe one day. Imagination declares, it is now. Do not merely visualize what you want. Feel it until it possesses you. Feel the warmth of fulfillment. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the peace that comes when the dream is already done. Let that feeling become so real, so consistent, that your entire inner conversation aligns with it. When doubt tries to speak, answer with the end. When fear arises, return to the end. When the world shows you the opposite, stay with the end. For the end is the truth. The facts are only shadows, and something remarkable begins to happen when you do. The people, the opportunities, the coincidences all start to move in divine rhythm, drawn by the magnet of your conviction. You are not forcing the world, you are aligning with it. Creation begins to rearrange itself with effortless precision, as if the universe itself recognizes your new identity and rushes to make it visible. Do not concern yourself with the how. The how is not your work. Your work is to live from the end, to rest in the assurance that what you desire is already done. The means will appear naturally, perfectly, at the appointed time, and when they do, you will realize it was never the world that changed, it was you. For the moment you shift within, the battle begins not with the world, but within your own mind. The senses rise like soldiers of doubt, demanding proof, demanding sight, demanding logic. They whisper, look around you, nothing has changed. They tug at you with the weight of the old story, trying to pull you back into the familiar cage of what once was. And if you are not watchful, you will surrender to them, believing the noise of the visible more than the quiet power of the invisible. But you must remember, every visible thing you now see was once invisible. Every structure, every dream, every success that ever appeared in this world first existed only as an unseen conviction. The senses report only what has been, they are blind to what is becoming. When you believe only what you can see, you live as a prisoner of your past. But when you hold to the unseen, you become the author of your future. Emotion will rebel. It will argue with your faith. It will tell you the feeling of the wish fulfilled is false, that you are deceiving yourself. Yet emotion is but the echo of old belief. It cannot harm you unless you bow to it. You must stand still and remember, feeling precedes form. When you maintain the inner state, the outer world has no choice but to conform. There will be moments when everything inside you screams, it's not real. That is the moment of testing, the moment of power. If you can remain unmoved, if you can persist in your inner knowing despite every appearance of contradiction, then you have crossed from believing in imagination to living from it. And in that state, creation bends. You cannot serve two masters, faith and fear, imagination and evidence. Choose one. You cannot look both at the seed and demand the fruit at the same time. The seed works in silence, beneath the soil of reason, away from the eyes of proof. Your task is not to dig it up in impatience, but to let it grow in confidence. When you feel the tension between what you desire and what you see, do not despair. That tension is sacred. It is the stretch between worlds, the pull of your new reality drawing you away from the old. It is proof that something has already begun. Welcome it. Do not seek to escape it. Let it transform you. And when emotion surges, fear, doubt, frustration, do not fight it with words. Instead, return to the feeling of fulfillment. Let that feeling soothe the storm. Feel it until the noise subsides, until peace returns. For peace is the signal that your inner world has reclaimed authority. When you learn to remain faithful to the invisible while the visible denies it, you master life itself. You no longer react to appearances, you create them. The outer world becomes clay, yielding gently to the shape of your persistent feeling, and soon, even the loudest voice of reason will fall silent before the quiet certainty of your faith. And once the outer world begins to yield, you will come to understand a divine truth. You are not the victim of circumstance. You are the author of it. Every event that unfolds in your life is not written by chance or dictated by fate, but by the silent script you compose within yourself. The stage of the world simply plays out what your imagination has already declared to be true. You are the playwright and the actor, the dreamer and the dream. When you awaken to this realization, life ceases to appear random. You begin to see that every reaction, every conversation, every so-called coincidence is drawn to you by the vibration of your own assumption. Nothing happens to you. Everything unfolds from you. The outer world is your canvas, and imagination is the brush with which you paint your destiny. Every thought dipped in emotion becomes color. Every assumption shapes the lines of your reality. But many live unaware of their authorship. They believe they are readers of a story written by others, reacting to the pages as they turn. They do not know that their own thoughts, repeated with feeling, are scripting the next scene. They think they are powerless, yet even their belief in powerlessness becomes law unto itself. For the law of creation does not discriminate, it reflects faithfully whatever you assume to be true. So ask yourself, what script are you writing now? When you speak of lack, you extend that chapter. When you speak of doubt, you thicken the plot of delay. But when you dare to rewrite the story, when you boldly declare, "It is done," and feel the reality of it, the whole play must rearrange itself to fit that declaration. You are not bound to the old script. You can tear the page and begin anew this very moment, for consciousness knows no past. Do not seek to change others. They are only characters in the drama you direct. Change your inner dialogue, and their actions will change automatically. When you alter your concept of self, the entire world responds as though a new play has begun. The same people who once doubted you may now admire you, not because they have changed, but because you have. This is not arrogance. It is responsibility, the sacred understanding that your inner state is the cause of every outer effect. To live without this awareness is to drift. To live with it is to create deliberately. And so, when you desire to transform any condition, do not beg, do not plead, and do not fight. Withdraw into the quiet theater of your mind, and there rewrite the scene. Imagine the end exactly as you wish it to be, and feel the satisfaction of that completed act. Let that scene become real in you. Live from it until the world mirrors it perfectly. For imagination is not fantasy, it is the workshop of reality. It is the unseen script where destiny is shaped. And once you learn to write consciously, nothing in the outer world can stand against the authority of your inner vision. And when you hold that inner vision faithfully, refusing to be moved by appearances, something wondrous begins to occur. The impossible starts to yield. The world that once resisted you now bends in quiet obedience to your conviction. People shift, paths open, doors appear where walls once stood. You begin to see that faith is not blind, it is the purest sight there is. It sees beyond what the eyes can behold and claims the invisible as already real. When you persist in your belief despite every denial, the universe has no choice but to align with the image you have accepted as truth. You have moved from hoping to knowing, and knowing is the highest form of creation. Faith is not a plea, it is possession. When you truly believe, you do not wait, you live as though it were already accomplished, and that living state draws the outer world into agreement. Many give up too soon. They plant the seed, they water it for a day or two, and then, when no sprout appears, they dig it up to see if anything is happening. But creation does not bloom in impatience. The unseen must be trusted, even when it remains invisible. The time between assumption and manifestation is not delay, it is gestation. Every unseen act of faith is forming, gathering, aligning behind the curtain of visibility. There will be moments when it looks as if nothing is working. Those are sacred moments when your outer world is being stripped of the old pattern to make room for the new. Stand firm. Do not return to the old assumption just because the old world trembles. That shaking is not failure, it is transformation. The old must crumble before the new can appear. If you can remain unmoved in that silence, if you can continue to feel the end even when the evidence denies it, you will witness the miracle of faith. For faith is not merely believing that something can happen. It is the inner knowing that it has already happened. The world only waits to catch up with your conviction. There is a sacred stillness that comes when you have assumed your desire completely. You no longer question, you no longer chase, you rest. That rest is the proof that creation is finished. You may look outward and see no sign, yet within you there is certainty, and that certainty will carve the invisible path by which your desire comes to pass. And when it does, when the thing once denied by reason stands visible before your eyes, you will not be surprised. You will know it was inevitable, for you have lived it long before it appeared. You will see that every denial, every doubt, every delay was merely the shadow cast by your own unfolding light. Then you will understand that faith is not believing without reason. It is believing beyond reason, trusting the unseen power within you until the seen world bows in reverence to your inner truth.